What's up, y'all? AlterGenesis. Another day of Zenonzard. This time we are, as you can see on the screen here, it is the crossover with Battle Spirits that they was just released today. So today we want to take the chance to really sit down and play some games, because my last few videos have either been a tutorial or pack opening. So now that we have more cards and I have a better understanding of the game, I want to get into some, games to explain how the flow of battle for someone who's new to the game. And the best way to do that is to do some of the quest modes, and especially with the new Battle Spirit characters. They have pretty good decks, and it's because I'm not playing in AI and there's no pressure of the ranked match. It's a good way to explain and especially with the deck I'm using too, how I built the deck. So I've already done the first three, which were pretty easy. I know nothing about Battle Spirits, so there hasn't been many card anime that has been good, in my opinion. It's normally not done well. But anyways, so we're gonna challenge her with my Golem deck. So Golem decks, the red cards, they're very powerful, and you'll see why. So we're gonna get into this normal battle here. Okay, so I'm going second. So the AI will give you advice on what to do if you have them on auto. I don't mind it. It gives me I'll think of what to do, and then if I see their suggestion and if I think it's better, I'll just do that. But this card is what makes Golems extremely powerful. Golem summoning right here. If you use... So, okay, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, obviously, but... So the AI is telling me to scrap all of these, or exchange them, so I will do that and draw a new 5. Oh, that's actually really good. See, that's outstanding. Anyways, so okay, you know what? Let me let her play her turn first. See, there's a lot going on. It moves so quickly that sometimes, unless you really know what's happening, it's hard to tell what just happened, right? So let's slow it down and let's take off the Codeman song. All right. So what you can see on the field first is this first row here, right? This is where your mana goes. So your mana is what you need to be able to summon a minion or play a spell, right? So you can see in my hand here that there's this number at the top left corner that says 3. Now that's how much you need to play a minion or a spell, right? And you can either get a neutral mana. You can see if you don't have a mana spirit. So here's the thing you have to keep in mind. This is called your base. So where you put your mana here, this is called your base, right? And then this is the field. So there are two types of minions, right? There are field minions, which are the monsters that attack, and then there's base minions, which can be placed as mana. Now, that's the basic of your first turn, what you should be looking at on your first turn. Now, the other thing you have to keep on track of are the forces. So these forces provide effects for your deck, right? So, for example, this force, all your mana return to active state at the end of your turn, and all your minions that are not tokens return to the active state at the end of your turn. Now that might seem really confusing at first, but as the duel goes along, or the battle goes along, we'll explain exactly what that means. So let me just go with my first turn. So this is but before I go into that, actually, I have Force of Insight, which reduces the basic cost of magic cards by 2. And also Phoenix, which returns mana to the active state. So let's go into the first turn. Let's play my base minion. Now, you can see that when the effect is, when placed, you add Infernal Ring of Amelie level 1 from your hand to your hand. Now, this is from outside the deck. I do not have this card in my deck. So, I place it, it goes into the base, and this card appears into my hand. Right, so now I have 1 active mana on the field. You can tell if the mana is active, whether or not it's like bright like this or darkened out. You'll see it as the duel goes along. So you see that this cost 1 mana. These are neutral minions. So the black cards, they don't have a force color requirement, unlike these ones where, as you can see on the side here, there's 2 reds. So there needs at least 2 red manas to summon. But this one doesn't. So I can summon it for a 1. And when I summon it, she has an effect that I get to search for another base minion. So I'm obviously going to summon it to the field. It's a field minion, as you can see, F minion. So I search the deck for another base minion, as you can see. And here's what can be very confusing. Field minions can be placed into the base after they are on the field, or vice versa. So you can bring a field minion, a base minion, onto the field. Okay? So they're not restricted. It's just where you can place them first. So you can either place it on the base first or the field first. But in this case, this field minion can be returned to my base, as you can see, to make it that I have 2 mana for next turn, right? So another important number that you'll see is the 0 on our cards when we play them on the field. Now that is called the DP, right? So it's this, when you actually are looking at a card, it's this number on the bottom right next to the 200. Now that means that this card, if it was to attack any of the forces up here, it wouldn't do any damage. All right, so it can't attack life or it can't attack forces. It's useless for attacking. The 200 that's on the bottom left is the attacking power. So if it was to attack into another minion or defend against another minion, that's, you know, obviously the bigger number wins. So we're going to move the card back into the base. And there's nothing else that you can do. So remember how I said this force returns all your mana to active state. So as you can see, the mana down here are darkened out, which means I cannot play, like when I end the turn, I can't play anything right now. Like, cause think of it like if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! Quick play spells. I cannot play a quick play on my opponent's turn if I don't have mana. But thanks to this force, you can see that. Just keep an eye on the mana there. So when I end turn, as you can see now, they've been reactivated. So see, there's a lot going on here with the computer. It happens also quickly, so as you can see again, I have two active mana. I have the base minion that I drew from the effect of this monster here, or this minion here. So I'm gonna place this red mana back into the base. See, who has an effect of reducing 100 battle points from any monster on the field once it's placed. And if you lower a monster's battle points to 0, it automatically gets destroyed, as you'll see here. So now you can see that this minion requires 1 red mana and 2 neutral manas, and it needs at least 3. Right, so I have that 3 active right now. So of course I can summon it, and its effect summons a golem token along with it. All right. So of course I can withdraw this to the base so that when my force activates, So if you don't attack, right, and if they don't have an effect that says that they return to rest state when they go back into the base, you still have 1 mana, right? So now I can summon that monster, put it back to the base, and then summon this 1 mana monster. Mind you, unless you play the force that allows you to have an extra movement, you can only move from base to field once. You can't do it multiple times. Like I can't move, see, as you can see, I can't move this one back to the base too, right? You're limited. You can't just like spam it, right? So let's end the turn. And my 4 mana have become active again. Alright, so as you can see, one of the interesting things about this is that the only way to win is to drain the life points. So that's the life points in the middle. Right? So that's the only way to win. But newly placed monsters, unless they have a charge effect, newly placed monsters on the field cannot attack directly. They can only attack the forces. You can only attack directly on the turn the monster was placed if both forces are already destroyed. So in this case, I can, because I have this active mana here, and I have this force, which reduces the cost of magic cards in my hand, I can play this, which normally costs 4, but now only costs 2. You can see the green 2 there. And I can play this to destroy that monster, because any monster that has their BP reduced to 0 is automatically destroyed. So this is a very powerful spell. So 600, that's destroyed. So that attack gets completely negated. So there's no point, again, attacking with 0 attack monsters. They can't do any damage anyway. They're mostly just there to block potential attacks. So as you can see, the AI is telling me to place a neutral mana right now. So even if you don't have a base minion in your hand to place on the turn, you can just place neutral mana and add to your mana every turn. So I know you might be confused right now. The AI is telling me to attack the life points with a 0 attack. Excuse me. With a 0 attack minion. But this specific minion has an effect that has, if you have a red or neutral mana belonging to the Evoker class in the base, this minion receives 1 DP when attacking the opponent's life. So obviously I have an Evoker red mana. So I can attack directly with this minion. Now, mind you, this minion here can block if the computer so chooses. So that's the block phase. So as you can see, they block, and because they were even, that was a perfect example. I'm glad the AI blocked. So now the both minions go to the trash, and no damage is done to the life, right? So even though I've attacked, I can still summon because I still have my 5 mana available here, right? So this card, which I was telling you at the beginning of the duel, is extremely powerful. If you use the Chiron, Force of Insight Chiron, it becomes a 4-cost spell, which is very, very strong, as you're about to see. So you have 5 tokens, which, because they're not monsters that get placed, can attack. Now, I don't want to kill her right away, and I want to block and explain more. So I'm gonna agree with the AI and end the turn. So I'm gonna so you can pass. You don't have to block, mind you. You don't have to block every attack if you want to keep your minions on the field. So as you can see, she did damage to my Phoenix Force on the right. So this will reduce a minion's attack by 100 by placing it in the base. So now I can continue attacking the life. She has 6 mana available, so she could play a force or like a magic spell right now on her turn, on my turn. So she's gonna block, they're gonna trade. See, this is the ability right here. See that charge? This charge ability means that this minion can attack as soon as it's placed. So, if you check here, you'll see charge. This minion can start attacking the opponent's life on the turn in which it enters the field. Alright, so that's a very specific ability right there. So as you can see here, this is another perfect example. So I've used this attack already, and these minions are still active. I haven't summoned anything to use them yet, right? So I haven't used my movement options. So I can move that minion to the field, replace the one I already attacked with, and put another attacking monster on the field. And it doesn't look like she has anything in her hand to stop this, or she would have done it already. And there you go. And what's really cool about this game is that you can go back into the battle and replay it at any time. So you can always like review your matches and see like how you could have played something differently. So I want to just like play that a little faster, and then so you can get the flow down. Hopefully like this will be a lot clearer the more you play. Alright, so Kenzo Hyodo. Alright, so this time I'm going first. So having Golem Summoning is super strong, or in an opening hand is strong. Having Imeli is strong. So yeah, I agree, you can get rid of these. So again, base minion, field magic, and I don't think I have any field minions right now. So these monsters right here add field minions to your hand once they get placed in the base anyway, so no big deal. But obviously there's nothing else I can do on this turn because I do not have a 1 mana minion to summon, so obviously I have to end the turn. So that's a 1 mana minion summon that she or he, is that a he or a she? Who knows? Anyways, that he put in the base. So now he has 2 mana. So now I can place another red mana in my base and summon the 2 minion that I had from the previous turn. And so at this point, I could attack, right? Like I could attack any of the forces, but there's really no point in that because what I really want to do is like build my mana. Because as you can see, the minion is still active. There's no effect. Some base monsters, you'll see, have the effect when they return to base, they automatically go into rest mode, which means you cannot use them again to summon. But in this case, as you can see, it's still active. So I can place that minion, put it back into the base, and because it's 1 mana, have 1 mana available to make another summon. And of course, I can't move another one back to the base like I said in the previous duel. So now you have to end the turn. Again, this force brings all my mana back to active. Meaning I can use a spell in my opponent's turn if I had it. Alright, so neutral mana. So again, you don't have to use the base minion. You are guaranteed to gain at least 1 mana every turn, right? By placing a neutral mana. So again, I know this thing says 0, but like I explained before, having a red evoker minion in the base allows it to gain 1 DP. So obviously, AI is going to block. We get rid of both of them. And see, here's what's really cheap about this deck. Like I said, I started off with a golem summoning and I got a second one. So for the price of 4 of my mana, there's 5 minions on the field, and I can attack the forces. And getting rid of the Phoenix Force early in the game is very powerful because then when they summon on their turn, because their mana doesn't regenerate, they can't do anything on your turn. So there's no counterplay. Oh, well, there you go. There's the counterplay right there. So the flash turn, but it's too late. You still lose the Phoenix Gem. So this is another interesting thing about the battle. I'm glad this came up. So you saw that spell, Binding Roses. Select up to 2 minions and forces to put into rest state, right? So you would think that would prevent an attack, but this attack still went through, all right? So what you have to remember, what you have to know is that when a minion declares an attack, it is automatically put into the rest state. So you cannot stop it from attacking. Once the attack is made, if there's a card that says it puts it in rest state, you cannot stop that attack. You have to either outright destroy the monster or return it to the hand, right? You can only put monsters in rest state that are still active and not actively attacking. All right. So destroying the Phoenix Force is very strong because it doesn't allow you to regain your mana. Because as you can see, my mana are all used up, right? Because I used Golem summoning, right? But because my Phoenix Force is still active, they will reactivate. So now I can counterplay if necessary. I mean, I don't have any flash. I can't use this yet. So I don't have any thing I can do right now because I have my 5 golems on the field. Golem tokens. So there's nothing I can do. I can stop that. All of my monsters are in rest mode. So as you can see, because his force is gone, his mana didn't regenerate. He only has 1 active mana left. And there's no spell that he can play that's 1 mana. Other than like Binding Ivy, which is a green specific spell. But this isn't even a green mana. Right? It's a neutral mana. Alright, so I'll place my minion in the base. 5 mana. And again, this can't attack directly as long as the force is still active. So This force is very powerful. This minion is very powerful. It deals 200 BP after when attacking. So as you can see, those minions there have 200 BP, so I can destroy them just by declaring an attack. And there's no counterplay, right? There's literally no counterplay here because he only has 1 mana. So and of course, as again, if you haven't used your movement options, you can return the minion to the base to protect it from spells or counterplay, because they can't be destroyed while they are in the base. And I can just continue to attack with my golem tokens because I have this spell here, extremely powerful, that I can play on the next turn. Because if you remember, I put my minion back in the base, and it's a 5. No, it says 7, but because of my force, it is a 5 spell card, and I can play it on my opponent's turn during the flash phase. So the flash phase is here, and all of my minions are in rest mode, so they can't block. But like I said before, this card is here. Deals 300 BP. That's a 300 BP monster. Goodbye. So that attack is negated. So I can't stop that attack, right? I've used my mana, my monsters are in rest mode. But this is pretty much a wrap, because I can resummon the minion that I moved there last turn. And because, like I said, the force is gone, all of his mana is inactive, so I could just do whatever I want at this point. It's pretty much over. Alright, so hopefully that helps if you're trying to get into Zenonzard and you're trying to understand the like how the pace of the game works and how you should be building your decks. You obviously want to be able to do multiple things. You want to protect, you want to be able to get mana quickly, and if you're not working to get mana quickly to get bigger and stronger minions out, you want to be able to have really good defensive options to control your opponent on their turn during the flash phase, right? So there's a lot of strategies and strong ways to play. You just have to see which minions fit your play style, right? There's a lot of different play styles in the game. So if you have any questions, or if you wanna let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. But thanks again, y'all, for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow doing some ranked matches. We're gonna try to rise the ranks in this game. We're gonna try our best. I mean, it's a very strong Japanese heavy whale game, so we're gonna try our best. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.